Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my session here today, and thank you for joining. How is everyone doing? Good, excellent, nice to hear that. So let's start with a little Q&A. So by show of hands, can you tell me how many of you have recently made upgrades to your compute, your Databricks compute or cluster, or had some kind of a code change because of the DBR upgrade? Okay, a few of you. Do you guys agree that upgrading the Databricks runtime is like putting a duct tape around your spaceship, where you're trying to cover up for the OS vulnerabilities only for a short time until it's again ready for another DBR upgrade? It's just one instance of manual upgrades that are required to keep our clusters, the classic clusters, up to date in terms of the latest Spark versions and vulnerabilities. So about 4 years ago at Nationwide, one of our largest consumers, property casualty team, began building out their ETL workloads on Databricks, primarily from the objective of modernizing their ETL frameworks using the latest and greatest features, and also being able to cater to BI needs. When we started running the BI workloads, this is way back like in 2020, 2021, we found the BI workloads were like reaching their performance bottlenecks. They had scalability issues, and of course, the expenses, the spend was quite unpredictably high. Cut down to June 2025, currently we have at least 40 to 50% of our workloads catering to BI, running on serverless compute. Serverless across SQL warehouses, notebooks, jobs, DLT, whatnot. Now, this journey from the BI workload threshold issue to the current state did not happen overnight. So in today's session, Databricks, we can talk about how Databricks Serverless helped Nationwide build a world-class BI. This is the functionary forward-looking statement. I would let you guys read through it. And please don't forget to get those brownie points if you complete your survey for this session. All right. A little bit about myself, real quickly. I am a passionate data warehousing and data engineering professional within the enterprise data office at Nationwide. I lead the platform engineering team, wherein we support large-scale data analytics and data management platform, onboarding and education, monitoring, governance. We are the account admins for Databricks at Nationwide, essentially. Those two links that you see down there, just quick trivia. Nationwide won the Data Democratization Award in 2023. During the time, you can see the link where I presented our Unity Catalog journey of uniting Hive meta stores and migrating them into Unity Catalog. So Nationwide is one of the largest insurance and financial services provider in the US. We began our journey way back in 1926, when Nationwide was just a small insurance provider for farm owners, helping them get the best value for their auto insurance. And since then, over the next 100 years, we have grown in terms of our products and service offerings. Some of our major products would be in the space of personal auto, homeowners, commercial businesses, workers' compensation. We also include investments, annuities, retirement funds, and we also have a bank. You can see some of our rankings over there, and we are a Fortune 100 company. All right, so let's get back to the topic. Databricks Foundation at Nationwide. I wanted to give a quick timeline around our Databricks adoption at Nationwide. We are one of the early adopters of Databricks when it used to be a monolithic platform, like a single workspace where the data plane was deployed at one of our AWS accounts, and we would communicate with the control plane over VPC peering. Databricks was introduced as like this new little bright, shiny little toy for our business engineers and analytical scientists to run their machine learning training, some of their feature engineering workloads, exploratory data analysis, and things of that nature. Now, very soon, the capabilities of Databricks kind of spread across our organization, and by the end of 2020, we had close to a few hundreds of users and multiple diverse use cases being built. Now, note all of these are happening within the same monolithic environment. So we soon reached all our limits in terms of scalability, in terms of concurrency, thresholds. We were at full throttle. So 2021 is when we deployed Enterprise version 2, which was this federated model to deploy separate federated workspaces, compute, and storage by each business area. That helped us kind of relieve the pain point with a single monolithic structure. And it really expanded our use cases, users by about 20 times or so. We did, at that point, which was around 2022, start facing some issues with our classical computes around all-purpose clusters and SQL warehouses. I'll come to that on my next slide. But this also opened scope to the point that we could do BI on Databricks as well. It's not just for your engineering pipelines or advanced analytics use cases. You could potentially look at it from a BI perspective to run exploratory use cases or connect your BI platforms. So in 2023, when Unity Catalog went GA, that is when we began adopting UC across our federated workspaces with an intent of migrating off from the legacy Hive Metastore into Unity Catalog. Also, it was around the time when we began consciously onboarding new business use cases purely on Unity Catalog specific workspaces as well. We were not really setting up folks on Hive Metastore anymore around that time frame. Now, where does SQL Serverless or serverless fit in all this? That's what this slide and the next one will talk about. So this slide basically talks about the numerous challenges we have faced with classical compute. I'm not going to go through all the details. I have broadly classified them into 3 categories: infrastructure overhead, high amount of cost, and finally, security updates. So infrastructure overhead was more painful for my team. As I said, I represent the platform engineering team. We are the account admins. So us and then the workspace admin, we spent hundreds and thousands of dollars just setting up of new compute infrastructure, monitoring the overages, looking for scope for optimization, right-sizing clusters. We've spent over the past, I would say, 3 or 4 years, every year we look at opportunities to optimize our workloads. Non-standard compute configuration, which means that we have to educate every new engineer around, please do not go and create a new compute for yourself. Please try and reuse. Let's use shared compute mode. So that was another thing around education and configuration and maintenance of the cluster. I'm not even going to delve into the scalability issues and the startup and termination times. I'm sure folks who have worked on classic computes, you know the pain. Recently, we were analyzing, debugging a particular job where it took the job like 10 minutes to just spin up the job cluster, and the job finished in under 60 seconds. So all the time that we're spending with this infrastructure overhead, of course, leads to high cost as well. So they're kind of tied together. Sluggish auto-scaling, high startup times, redundant usage or spinning up of clusters. We have teams where every developer has a single node cluster for themselves on the classical world. And then finally, security updates. I talked about the DBR upgrades, which was manual, laborious, time-consuming, and it's repeating. Every time we have to keep on doing it. Every time there's a new DBR version available. And then additional firewall rules of public IB exposures. That point is important because to connect to many of our application servers, whether it's internal, on-prem, cloud, or external to nationwide, we have to always consider, okay, what kind of firewall rules do we need to set? Is it even required? It was like there's an amount of guesswork there, trial and error, again, wasting our time there. And then the third point, final point here on security is that we assumed that with Unity Catalog upgrades, we will be able to kind of secure our workspaces in such a way we don't have to worry about the manual cluster upgrades and stuff like that. But UC adoption for some of our larger, major business areas have been a little sluggish. because of the whole nature around, you have to upgrade your code, a lot of manual testing involved, things of that nature. So that has not picked up as much as we would have expected to get rid of all the security aspects. Now, around the same time, 2023, 24, there was also two major factors, which I've kind of spread it out in details, but there are two major factors that was leading towards propelling use of serverless. One of them is from our technology leadership. There was a push to implement a budget or sort of like a target spend for all of our workloads to try and see how we can optimize, how we can scale down, how we can rationalize the tools that we're using. We have, just like any other company, Ali mentioned it today during the keynote, that we have plenty of tools at Nationwide doing similar or overlapping capabilities. So tools rationalization is another aspect which is kind of pushing us towards adopting serverless as well. I can give you more examples if you're interested after the talk. So that technology driver around budget and cost control. And then there's another driver from our business leadership, where they're trying to see a lot of their manual workloads, which typically takes them like weeks and months to fulfill using Excel spreadsheets, Access databases. They want to see how we can automate, simplify those business processes using Databricks. And in such a way that it's easy for the business who are typically non-technical in nature. They can probably understand SQL, the procedure, but not really write a lot of code. For them, can we build applications that will simplify their manual, their weekly jobs, monthly jobs? So that drive towards adopting these new features, which are Gen AI and NLP-based, both of these, along with the limitations that we saw with classic compute, kind of drove us towards adopting serverless. Now, our serverless journey in terms of testing out performance and everything, as you can see here, it began around 2023. So this was the same time when we also began adopting Unity Catalog at Nationwide. We didn't want to implement or enable serverless at that point without UC being the backbone for your data governance. So initially, the first year in 23, we partnered with a very large business actuarial team at Nationwide, again, under our property and casualty umbrella, to run a few volumetric performance testing on different types of SQL warehouses that was available, and also compare those performances with our, at that point in time, our nationwide enterprise standard for cloud data warehouse. So after our volumetric analysis running concurrency testing, we figured out that the serverless version of SQL Warehouse, not classic or compute, but the serverless version with all of its bells and whistles in terms of adaptive query routing, with its optimization, caching options, intelligent auto-scaling, was matching the same performance benefits, performance marks, as well as the cost was comparable to our nationwide cloud data warehouse standards. So those results were so optimistic, they were so positive, that helped our leadership kind of give a direction that if your data is within the Delta Lakehouse, you don't need to move to another platform for your BI reporting. Try and see if you could leverage our serverless SQL warehouse for your BI workloads. Now that led to us developing really quickly what the standards, the governance, the observability we need in place in order to roll this out across like 15 plus data teams or lines and over 2,000 active users at that point in time. So we were quickly scrambling, making sure we are educating our users to use serverless SQL warehouses properly. We also, during that time, we also integrated with our enterprise data governance tools, like think about Anomalo, Alation, and the likes over serverless warehouses. We integrated Tableau, Power BI, et cetera, all of our BI tools, data prep platforms. All of these integrations were tested out during that time, and they worked pretty seamlessly, giving pretty high performance in terms of both performance and cost. Now, move over to 2025. 25 is a year where we started seeing new use cases coming up that would leverage the new features from Databricks, which includes like Lakeflow Connect, which would include Databricks apps, Materialized Views, streaming tables, whatnot. I think I have listed some of them over here. AIBI dashboards were, of course, common. So some of these new features required us to enable the other versions of serverless, notebooks, DLT, and jobs. So we began testing with selected workspaces, which resulted in extremely positive, I'm sorry, the ticker is not going. The timer still shows me 20 minutes. So I'm not sure how much time is remaining. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to quickly walk through our top 3 use cases that I wanted to share with you guys in terms of our serverless adoption at Nationwide. Some of these teams have been spearheading our journey and our performance testing with different types of serverless computes. So our first use case is with the financial team. Our financial team has been building their financial data lake for the last 2 years, bringing in data from multiple sources. One of their use case was to provide the business users a very easy, simple to use, lightweight application that would let the customers come and review their reference data and also make updates real time. Note that this process in the current state required several spreadsheets and several weeks of work. So by using Materialized Views, streaming tables, and Lakehouse apps, we were able to build this simple, lightweight, low latency application. And users are able to make their updates real time, pretty much near real time. So we were able to save more than 50%. I've mentioned 50% here, but it's much more than that in terms of saving of cost, effort, performance, of course. Our second serverless use case is from the marketing business area. So marketing team, typically, they run the entire marketing lifecycle for Nationwide. And they have been also building out a marketing data hub for the past couple of years. They manage all the campaigns, social media stuff, et cetera. So they have close to 100 jobs which have been running on classic compute. This year, they took up a project to try and see how they can minimize this, and we saw close to about 60% performance gains. There were jobs that were running for like 2 hours, which reduced down to less than 5 minutes. I have given an example here of top 3 jobs where we saw a significant amount of performance gain. My third use case is for a specific data governance scenario where we are able to monitor data quality over our entire data lakehouse, which comprises of Delta tables, comprises of foreign tables that we are bringing in through Lakehouse Federation, and also Delta share tables. So we're able to use our enterprise standard data quality tool to measure the quality of all of these different types of heterogeneous sources and be able to spit out their accuracy, their completeness in terms of the quality of data, and make the data ready for BI consumption. These are some of our upcoming futuristic use cases. I'm not going to go through the details of it. I actually wanted to bring this slide up sooner, but the main takeaway from this slide would be the top 3 best practices for implementing serverless in your organizations. There are several other governance rules that we have been documenting and capturing, but definitely Unity Catalog framework as your governance baseline. Making sure you're using budget policy. Budget policy does have some limitations right now, but making sure that is a requirement to use serverless of any type. And then finally, making sure that we have observability alerting through our AIBI dashboards and based on system tables, billing, and usage tables. So those are the prerequisites. Key benefits, and I just want to call out that we have seen significant amount of performance boost, as you can see here loaded. But one of the major opportunity areas, the challenges would be we could not use budget policy for setting up thresholds or shutting down jobs in case we exceed a certain threshold. So we are still working with Databricks to try and see how we can implement this in the future. Right now, none of the features support this requirement. And then these are the last 3 takeaways. So our serverless enterprise rollout has been tremendous, and it has boosted our business capabilities and new use cases being built out. We have definitely driven efficiency at scale, being able to reduce a lot of the manual work in terms of seconds and real time. And finally, we wouldn't have been able to roll out serverless at an enterprise level if we didn't have the governance controls in place. System tables have been of huge benefit for us. We're able to exactly measure how much. We're able to slice down the serverless consumption by a cost center, by resources, by teams, business areas. As I mentioned, we're not able to apply a threshold to turn down serverless usage if we reach those pain points, but we do have enough governance and observability in place for us to monitor that. With that, thank you and happy learning. Thank you.